Hey parents, how do you make smarter choices for your kids' college today? That's where Sally can help. With Sally, you can find scholarships, funding options, tools, and guidance all in one place. And if you need a loan, Sally has options for different families and different situations. College is only worth it if you do it right. So don't just help your kid go. Help them go smarter. Sally.com/GoParents.
Hi, this is Fat Mike from NoFX.
Hi, I'm actress Ann Mahoney.
Hey, this is Hillbilly Jim. Hi, this is Kyle Dunbar from Ink Master, Season 3 and 4. Hey, this is Showdown Joe Frog.
Hey, everyone, this is Jessica Kiernan.
Hey, it's Ryan.
I'm Molly, and we're from Mother Mother.
Hey, it's Shelby Chong, and I'm a Canadian from Vancouver.
Yo, what's up? This is me, DMC, and a place to be right here listening to the Todd Podcast.
When you're faced with adversity, how do you deal with it? Is it faced head on? Maybe ignore it and procrastinate till it goes away? Turtle and cry yourself to sleep? Everyone handles life differently. Personally, I'm a head-on kind of guy. Tackle the big things in life first. It's the overwhelming things. And you'll love the story of this week's sporting guest, retired NHL center Dave Scatchard. He's written a best-selling book called The Comeback, which is all about overcoming adversity. A fifth concussion gave him a taste of death with slurred speech, headaches, traumatic brain injuries. In fact, doctors told him that was the future.
I didn't care about the pain. I learned to turn pain off so long ago that when I was trying to heal years later, I had to rewire the way my brain works so that I could actually heal, because I could just mute the pain and turn it off and pretend it didn't exist.
Joining retired pro hockey player Dave Scatchard this week, you've seen her on Billions, American Crime Story, Lucifer, and more. Actress Kelly Dowdle is a guest.
I elbow my friend. I'm like, this is the beginning part of where I'm going to be in. And I don't show up and it skips right over. And I was like, oh my God. And then it happened 7 more times. And then finally I'm in 2 scenes in the movie, which is fine. It's great. It's a great start. But I remember walking out of that theater being so mortified.
We got a great week planned for you. First, let's get to the first of 3 guests. This week's musical guest, 311 bassist PNut. That is brought to you by Pineapple Sound, a recording and mixing studio in Langley since 2013. They welcome podcasts, voiceover actors, bands, of course, and a lot more. Check them out through pineapplesound.com. Now, you'll know about 311 if you listen to any good rock radio station. They've been around since 1988 from Omaha, Nebraska. They're deep into their career. 13 studio albums, 2 live albums, 4 compilation albums, 4 EPs, 4 DVDs. They've built success over the years with songs in the top of the Billboard Hot Modern Rock charts. Platinum and gold albums, over 10 million sold. And yes, their name comes from the police code for indecent exposure in Omaha after their original guitarist was arrested for streaking. We're going streaking. We talked with 311 bassist PNut for almost 40 minutes, and you can hear it now. You can see it at our iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube accounts. They're all at Toddcast Podcast. Who gave him the nickname PNut?
My friend Boyd Cameron in Omaha. When we were actually in a garage band together. We did a performance of Bauhaus. We did we did Stigmata Martyr, which is a very dark song. And we played it for the committee that was going to decide whether or not we would be allowed in the talent show. And this was the year before I made it on stage. And we did great. We played the shit out of that song, but I think it was the wrong choice. The public school wasn't into goth for some reason. I don't know why, but it didn't fly. But it was a lot of fun to play. And Boyd's a huge influence in my life, and I miss that he's not more in it. And it's like Stand By Me. It's like the kids that you have, the friends that you have when you're 10 or 12, are the best friends you'll ever have in your life. Yeah. He's one of those guys.
And knowing that PNut is only about a year younger than me, we got a bit nostalgic talking about, having to wait for Rolling Stone magazine and Spin and Circus. If you want to read about your favorite bands, hey, there was no internet. TV shows were not released as a season. And tech was basic.
The first thing that I really remember about digital media was the fact that we had a little Texas Instruments thing that you could program. It was like kind of like, I don't know, if you spoke DOS or whatever, you could make it do shit. And my brother wrote a code from a book, but wrote a code that made a ball, and then, that's kind of cool. It's a good reflection. Yeah, it made these balls on my arm, and then made them bounce like on the screen. It was so cool, and it blew my mind. And then we were playing like adventure, where you're a fucking brick running around this this maze where everything's the same looking room, where they change colors and the door's on a different side, or it's top on the so, and that was fun too, finding like that Easter egg that was the one of the programmer or designer's names is like the first Easter egg in any video game. And that type of shit. And then we had great arcades in Omaha that I still weep that they're not there anymore, because I'd love to take my kids there to the loud ass smoky
I know, right?
Just
big roll of quarters and away we go.
Yeah, so much fun. So it was stuff like that. It's pretty typical 80s stuff. I was born in 74.
Yeah, we really got into it with PNut, talking about the shows that he was currently binge watching, how the Eagles and the Muppets play into his childhood. We talked about basketball and F1 racing. And which is it? Is it Marvel or DC?
Oh, it's easy. It's easy. I've had this Punisher symbol on me since 93.
Nice.
Yeah. So the conservative yahoos that want to take it over.
There you go.
They better know that this progressive has been a Punisher fan for way longer.
Nice.
Yeah. It was, and I've got a bunch of comics too. I've got like a box full of stuff that every once in a while I see how it's not really earned much money, but maybe someday.
I know, right? Like as a kid, you're like, "Fuck, I'm gonna be so fucking rich!"
Woo, and I love it. Blood and guts and money. Woo!
Yeah. So, did you like the Punisher series on Netflix?
Yes, that was the first time they got it right. I was always of the mind that they were never going to be able to pull it off unless it was like animated to like kind of do the gnarly as gnarly as it needed to be done.
Like especially the was it 6-issue, the limited series 6-issue Punisher comic book as a kid? Like, fuck, right. Dude, that was violent, man.
Those first 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what got me started. A friend of mine that was a neighbor had a poster up and was a comic book freak, and I think he gave it to me when I moved, and then when I got to LA, I started picking up comics just out of boredom more or anything. Some you could buy for a couple bucks. Yeah. And get a collection, and you had to wait for new ones to come out too. That was kind of awesome, and it just came like a little minor obsession, and it was so much like about the stories and the art. It's just amazing kind of world to fall into. But yeah, I've always been more Marvel. But I think my favorite comic book is a DC comic called it was the Arkham Asylum by Batman.
Yeah.
It was a thick graphic novel where Batman goes into the asylum, and I think he gets he does mushrooms and runs into all the enemies, and it's just he ends up like walking out with the Joker arm in arm as they've kind of reconciled. They're not that reconciled, but they understand that they need each other. I love that dynamic with Batman and Joker. So
yeah,
there's enough for both, but Marvel gets the edge up on me. Although that Batman comic kind of changed my life. That art was like photographic and drawn kind of mixed medium style, and then throwing in those hallucinogens and that conflict kind of resolved. It's like, God, you had me at fucking page 1.
Musical guests of the Toddcast podcast are powered by Pineapple Sound, providing recording and mixing services for a wide range of artists and genres since 2013. Check them out at pineapplesound.com.
Not ready to sing this song. They say the writing's on the wall.
absolute masters of riffage. The band is dead quiet, and the song is off their latest album called Truth and Ruin. That song is called Forever Unsung, and you're just, a few days away now from their show at the Rickshaw Theatre, Main and Hastings, Vancouver, this Friday, November 6th. Dead Quiet, Brass, Heron, and Empress. And how good is it to see more and more shows being booked up? As far as a local indie show, that is top drawer. Coming up in just a few minutes in Listen to This, retired NHL defenseman Brent Sopel talking about starting up his foundation and the good that that's doing. That is powered by our friends at Tedco RV Supplies out in Langley, RV service and repair, ICBC accredited. Find them on Facebook and also on Twitter at Tedco RV Supplies. First, the second of 3 Toddcast guests is this week's sporting guest, retired NHL center and the comeback author, Dave Scatchard. Now, if you follow the NHL, chances are you'll know Dave. He played the game for like 14 years. The Canucks, the Islanders, Bruins, Coyotes, the Predators, the Blues. Born in Hinton, Alberta, growing up in Salmon Arm, BC. Good small-town Canadian kid. An exciting player to watch on the ice. A bit of a grinder, a two-way player. And you saw him call it a day on Twitter back in August of 2011. As mentioned off the top, his 5th concussion left him with slurred speech, headaches, brain injuries. For many people, that would be it. That's now life. But Dave Scatchard isn't like most people. With help from top coaches and healers and energy workers, Dave transformed himself into a best-selling author.
Yeah, man, we're bestseller now. You can't take that away from me ever again. Amazon
That's amazing.
bestseller. I know. It's we were lucky. We had almost all 3. So on Amazon, we had our Kindle book at 1. We had our paperback at 2. And like, it's funny because like Gretzky and Messier are down like 8, 9. Like, I'm like, that's the first time I'll ever, and only time I'll ever be ahead of those guys in anything. So the fact that we had our book ahead there when we launched, and we had a lot of momentum leading up to the launch. So that was nice. And then once we grabbed that bestseller status, then, it doesn't really, you try to stay on the list as long as you can. And
right.
we're still on there, but every review helps. I'm learning all these things, like every review helps, every type of sale. So like, I'm finishing the audiobook right now. And when you sell an audiobook, it actually counts as a book sold. The ebook counts as a book sold, the paperback counts, and they're all priced differently and stuff like that. But each one counts as a book.
Yeah, you really should pick up Dave's book, The Comeback, My Journey Through Heaven and Hell. Talk about a super inspirational story. Just amazing. Truly amazing. We talked to Dave for just over an hour long. You can hear it. You can see it. We did it on Zoom on our social media platforms, all at Toddcast Podcast, iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube. Loved when he was talking about getting some of the best career advice from Tim Hunter, how the Beach Boys were his first concert. That would be a good one. We talked about binge watching Succession and the nostalgia of growing up in the 80s and some of the best and worst NHL pranks.
Great one was, I think it was Todd Bertuzzi and Brad May. I think we're going back and forth a lot one year, and it was getting worse and worse. And Maisie, I think, had just bought a brand new BMW, like big purchase for him. And he was really proud of that car. And one of the guys, I think it was Bert, went and got tons of popcorn from like the GM place, like bags, like giant, huge bags.
Yeah.
And when practice was going on, he paid one of the trainers to go and unlock Maisie's car. So when he came off the ice, he didn't have to grab the keys or do anything. And he went and opened up the sunroof and he just poured all these giant, huge bags of buttered popcorn, like in his whole car, and filled it up. So like from the wheel well, like from the brakes and the pedals all the way to the top of the sunroof, it was all popcorn. You couldn't see any seats. You couldn't see anything. It was hilarious. And then,
wow.
And Maisie was rattled, and he's like, "Why'd you have to get like buttered stuff?" Like, he's like, "I can't get this stuff out of my car." I saw some other ones where guys, and this is like minor leagues and stuff, but I saw one guy put a fish in a guy's trunk underneath the little carpet and just like put it back down. And the guy was like looking around his car. He couldn't find it anywhere. He couldn't find the smell. He's looking under the seats. He's like losing it. And it got worse and worse and worse as the season went on. And guys wouldn't even ride with him in his vehicle anymore. He's like, I've looked everywhere. I don't know what's going on. I don't know where the smell's coming from. Basically ruined his car.
Yeah. What did Brad May do to Bertuzzi to get him back? Do you know?
Oh,
because dude, that's game on.
Yeah, no, it got really the team had to stop it because it started to get like a little bit like over the top. And I honestly, I'm trying to think. I mean, I remember a couple times guys' dress shoes being drilled into the bench. So like you go to lift your dress shoes off of the bench after the game and they're like screwed into the bench. There's a hole right through your $800 Gucci shoes and they're like sitting there. So another one, this happened in the minors and it was a roommate. I'm not going to say, but actually if you read the book, you'll know who it is. He took a crap in a box and then froze it in our freezer at our place in the minors and then mailed it with wrapping paper around it in the mail to a fellow friend of ours on another team. So he gets this like birthday gift. He goes to open it up and it had thawed out over those 2 or 3 days of shipping. And that was his gift. So, I mean, I could stay here for hours telling, like, there's so many funny things. I've seen rooms be like completely upside down, like the beds are all upside down, the desk, the lamps, the TV, like everything. I'm like, how did they do that? Like everything is totally upside down.
Wow.
I've seen beds moved out of the hotel room and in the hallway. So you come back after like late dinner, something is 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning, and you see somebody's bed in the middle of the hallway. You're like, what?
Yeah, as always, we got into a lot of stuff with Scatchard, like randomly meeting Snoop Dogg in a restaurant or a bar here in Vancouver, seeing Eminem and Dr. Dre in concert, the best times he had as a Vancouver Canuck. He talked about his friendship with Jeremy Roenick, how Kiss and CCR played a role in the early days, and realizing your true potential.
I never thought that I would not make it. Like,
really,
it's so weird. Like my dad made me read a book called Many Are Called and Few Are Signed. And it was by this goalie. And this is an old book. Like I was probably 10 years old when I read the book, but it was such a good move by my dad because it kind of told me the reality of my chances of making it to the NHL. Like it's really, really almost impossible.
Yeah.
But my dad would ask me these cool questions like, I'd be like, Dad, that'd be so amazing if I could play. And he's like, well, what do you think you'd have to do to get there? And like, he'd make me go in my brain and like draw out a roadmap on what it was going to take. So I was like, well, I'm definitely not strong enough. I'm definitely not big enough. My shot's not hard enough. I don't skate fast enough. I have to be quicker, faster, stronger, And he goes, okay, cool. So what's one thing you could do today that would like help you have a better chance, like improve on some of that stuff? And I'm like, well, I'm young. I don't really have weight equipment, but I could run, I could exercise, I could shoot pucks in the backyard. And then I started this routine where I'd shoot 100 pucks a day in my backyard, like my whole freaking childhood, like literally, I don't know how many thousands of pucks I had to have shot, but there were days where I'd stay out there for like 3 or 4 hours to shoot. I had blisters on my hands. Like I didn't care. And I was like, it was like, I told my wife the other day, like, I think most pro athletes have a little bit of obsessive compulsive behavior or something, because they will do things beyond what a rational, normal person would do and like still do it. Like, again, I think I even put this in the book. I said something like, if I was out shooting pucks and my mom and dad called me in for dinner like I wouldn't just drop my stick and go in. I'd say I can't go in until I shoot like 10 off the crossbar and down and in the net, and they have to be in order. And if I miss one, then I got to start all over again at 0. And like you do that enough times, your shot's gonna be pretty damn accurate. And as a kid, like, you know, I was pretty fast, but I didn't really have dangles, but I had a great shot. And that shot carried me through all the way into the NHL when I ended up scoring 27 goals one year and led the others in goals. If it wasn't for that shot, I don't think, and a lot, my teammates all knew it. And I was always in the top, like fairly high percentage of shooting percentage in the league. But because I never played 20 minutes a night or wasn't really playing on the first or second line very much, like it kind of went under the radar. People didn't really realize, but my teammates and the goalies that I played with always knew like how accurate my shot was. So yeah, I just continued to play these games with myself and my psychology. And that was how my confidence started to grow. And then you're right. At 12 years old, I ended up going to main camp with St. Albert Saints. And I'm playing against 16 to 20-year-old kids, and they're all huge and hairy and like grown-up men. And I actually like somehow pulled it off and played pretty damn good. And that was sort of when all the scouts started like buzzing about who's this kid? Like, what's he doing? And that was kind of the first time where I'm like, okay, I just played against like, you know, kids that were drafted to the NHL and like kids that are like superstars. And like, I was on the same ice as them at 12 and I didn't get killed and I scored a few goals. And like, I'm like, holy smokes. Like, not that I could, well, I might've been able to play in that league at 12. I mean, I think over the course of the season, I would have been really hard because I was so little, but my skill level was almost there at 12 where I could play with these junior players and stuff. And I'm like, okay, maybe I got a shot at this thing.
Red Truck Beer, delivered fresh, the official beer of the Toddcast podcast. The Toddcast podcast is powered by Milano Coffee, bringing you the finest espresso and coffee concepts in the world. Online at milanocoffee.ca. And now, listen to this on the Toddcast podcast.
If you're a Vancouver Canucks fan, you'll know retired defenseman Brent Sopel from his time with the team. In the mid-90s through the mid-2000s, was drafted to the team in 1995, traded to the New York Islanders 2005, then traded back to the Canucks for the 2006 season, went on to Chicago where he won the Stanley Cup in 2010, played with the Kings, the Thrashers, the Canadiens, and when Brent was a guest, we talked about his first hockey memory as a kid growing up in Saskatchewan. Aliens and UFOs came up. We talked about the albums that he would need on a deserted island, legalized marijuana, and his sobriety. We talked about realizing potential, winning the Stanley Cup. He shared a near-death story. And Brent talked about creating the Brent Sopel Foundation after retiring from pro hockey. They promote and raise money for youth with dyslexia, a great cause. Listen to this.
Yeah, I started my foundation a couple of years ago. I found out 10 years ago that I'm dyslexic. And, through that, through my struggles, I decided to, start my own foundation. And a lot of it's for advocating and, helping get teachers trained in Wilson Reading and Gordon Gillingham. But I always say to change the world, but before I can do that, I got to educate the world. I only think about 20% of the population actually know what dyslexia is.
And what's the percentage, do you know offhand, of the people that actually are dyslexic? My older brother is for sure.
Yeah, it's 1 in 5. So 20%.
20% of the people.
And it's hereditary. So autism 1 in 65 and not hereditary. So you just keep passing on, it keeps going and going and going. So it's not going anywhere. It's something that you're born with. You can't take a shot or a pill or anything. It is what it is.
So are you raising money? Is there a way for that to be fought? Like how do they fight this?
Well, yeah, I'm obviously raising money so that I can advocate for these kids. And when you're talking about 20% of the population, it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't race, gender, sex. It doesn't matter if you're Russian or Chinese or Japanese or Canadian. It affects everybody. So, raise the money so I'm able to go to schools and able to advocate for these kids and get them to understand what their goals are and what their strengths and weaknesses are. And I've been up to the White House speaking, a couple times, and going to go back up there whenever I can get back up there with everything going on.
Listen to this on the Toddcast podcast is brought to you by Tedco RV Supplies in Langley, an ICBC approved repair shop. Find them online at TedcoRVSuppliesInc.com.
Tell me all your secrets, she said, showing up half cut at 3 a.m. I can't keep going through the motions, just every lie at the end. There's no sense in running around pretending like we're gonna stick it out. Oh, but it's still her that I crave. Oh, she begs me to stay a little bit longer. Oh, she begs me to stay a little bit longer. I can feel my wetted heart sinking down into my bones. Oh, she begs me tripping over ourselves, doing this too many times. She's so caught up in addiction. Oh, tries to bring comfort to life. Oh. Some
And without a doubt, they are one of the best bands here in Vancouver, Winter Youth, and their song is called Half Cut, easily one of our favorite local indie bands. Haven't talked to Kaz and Emily, guitarist and singer in the band. I guess it's been a while now, but hoping that the pandemic has kind of given them time to work on new music, and we'll be hearing that sooner than later. Hey, you never know, right? Played you a band called Good Is Gone, and their song was called Tall in the Saddle. And if you're going like, who is that? Why do I recognize that guy's voice? It's because it's Matt Wood, the drummer, singer of Pride Tiger, who are, of course, one of Canada's best rock bands of all time. Right before COVID paused the entertainment world, we kind of talked to Matt and said, hey man, you want to play a podcast show for us? And of course, well, we're now in limbo. We've reached out to the Railway, the Roxy, the Hollywood Theatre here in Vancouver. And sooner or later, you'll start seeing more and more podcast shows again. I can't wait for that, but who knows when that timeline's going to be. Now, speaking of live music, find local shows with the indie scene at toddhancock.ca. Like next week, Wednesday, November 10th, you can catch the Boom Booms at the Hollywood Theatre. That is going to be a great show. I heard it's almost sold out. Slowly but surely, the scene is coming alive. If you're playing a show or maybe you're going to check one out, if it's indie, tell us about it. We will post it at our website. We get around 3,000 visits a day. Who says no to free promo? That's brought to you by Mystic Rhythms Rehearsal Studios. If you need a pro jam space, the rhetorical question that always is answered with a big yes. 40 plus years experience in the music industry. Find out more about them through mysticrhythms.ca. Okay, our final guest of episode 258 is actress Kelly Dowdle. This week's entertainment guest, brought to you by Sacred Meds, the best craft cannabis and psilocybin dispensary in Canada. You can also find hash, CBD oil, bath bombs, vaporizers, edibles. It's insane. Use the code TODCAST for 10% off your order through sacredmeds.com. You'll best know, I think we mentioned this off the top, you'll best know Kelly from Billions, American Crime Story, Lucifer. She was also in Scandal Made Me Famous, Big Mama's House 2 as well. She's in the upcoming film 3 Days Rising, and more recently, she just released a new single called Mama Said under the new name Kelly Monroe.
I have to think, you know, talking about that dark and light thing, right? It's like we go through life so fast and you get in such a routine that I think COVID really made all of us not only stop and slow down, but look at all the skeletons, all the nooks and crannies, all the dark, all the places that we've been hiding and limiting ourselves. And music was that for me. It was like tucked away deep down in here, back behind this thing and this, you know, like little chamber of my heart, just in the depth of my soul, just hiding down in there. And, you know, I've always like dreamed of being on stage and singing, but I've just never, I guess it's always just been kind of like, I don't know, it's just a childhood afterthought, but somehow film and TV was always like tangible. And the only thing I can break it down to is like, I think I just kind of always correlated singing to like the deepest part of my soul, like being seen, you know, like vulnerability, where TV, like TV and film is like you're playing a role, you know, it's not really you. So, so to answer your question, I mean, I was single during COVID. I still am single again, if anyone's wondering. I had no dog. I had no partner, no dog, no kids, nothing. And so when this hit, it was like, at first I was kind of like, well, this shit's going to pass, you know, whatever. And then it got really serious. And I think it really forced me to look at all, I mean, to put it bluntly, all the places that I've been hiding, you know, and like not really showing up for myself in the best way possible. And that big wake up call was singing for me. And I was like, you know what, on the other side of this, I am going to do everything I can to give myself the opportunity to be seen this way and share my voice with the world. Because really it's about the lyrics. I love, you know, just being a lyricist and writing. And I really think, the most powerful way to send a message to the world is through music,
Quick background, Kelly is from Texas, where she went to the University of Texas, has an undergraduate degree in radio, TV, and film. She is just a natural. I think we talked for a little bit over 40 minutes. It's posted now. You can hear it. You can see it. Another Zoom chat at our iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube accounts. We talked about a lot of stuff. She shared a super creepy near-death story, talking about binging You and Squid Game. Well, she didn't see Squid Game, but I have. I recommended it because that series, if you haven't seen it, is absolutely crazy. She talked about Martin Scorsese and superpowers and the last place that she'd vacationed.
I did go to Italy over the summer. I snuck out. This is one cool thing about being single. I feel like you can just kind of like sneak in places.
Yeah. You'd be like, do you want to go? I do. Great, let's go.
Yeah, like we've got a third wheel pass for you. Do you want to go? It's like, yeah, sure. Yeah. Great. But no, I went to Italy by myself actually, and that was really profound and beautiful, especially musically. I mean, God, I've traveled all over the world, and it's amazing how it's inspiring my music. Just writing about just the way you feel in certain places. Like you can't, you can't describe certain emotions, except I can when I'm traveling for some reason, it's really, it's really cool.
And so you go there on your own.
Mm-hmm.
What's that like? I've never done that before. Like, have you ever done that before? What was that like?
Yeah. So I started traveling. I was in a 10-year relationship, like pretty early on. And when that ended, I just promised myself, I was like, okay, like who am I really? And what is really like, what do I really want? And I promised myself two things. I would go to dinner by myself and like date myself. And I would travel alone, because you really learn about yourself in those two situations, because it's like the most traumatic, terrifying thing to eat alone. I don't know if you've ever done it before, but like, I'm talking about not at the bar, like a proper sit down dinner where like 4 times they come over and they're like, is your guest, are you expecting anyone? And you're like, no. And you order wine and a nice meal, and people are looking at you like, oh my God, that poor girl, Yeah. It really hits all the.
I've eaten on my own like that, but I've never traveled on my own. I don't know.
Yeah, traveling is it's profound. I would highly suggest it before you don't do it.
Yeah.
And as we always do, we tend to go further than what our guests are known for. Kelly remembers growing up with the music of Zeppelin, Tears for Fears, Hendrix, U2, talked about going to an Amy Grant concert, modeling at the age of 14, and Kelly talked about the most famous person that she's met.
Well, I mean, American Crime Story alone, that cast was incredible.
Yeah.
You had John Travolta, and, you had Cuba Gooding, you had David Schwimmer, you had, all-star cast. But like personally, I will tell you this story. You're done with the ball. He's done with the ball. We're going to breathe on that one. To me, everyone's just everyone, right? Like, I don't think of anyone as like, whoa, but I will tell you the star power that I felt with 2 different people. I met J-Lo at a dinner event, and there's just her charisma and the way that she carries herself in a room, hands down, just star power. And I remember thinking, like, I was taking notes, because I was like, she emits just like badass and just like strong and fierce, but like striking at the same time.
And she's stunning. Actually, like still stunned. Like, stunning. How old is she? She's stunning.
Stunning. Yeah. Stunning. And even her demeanor and the way she moves. And I've always thought her and Shakira are just like my 2, if I was ever going to be a lesbian, I would definitely be a lesbian lover with Shakira. I love her so much. And then I think, older, like I've met a lot of really cool people, but I think again, star power. I met Shirley MacLaine.
Oh.
And she's probably the coolest woman I've ever met. I mean, she just is soulful and gives zero fucks.
Oh yeah.
And she just has done it her way. You know, like when I think of the song My Way by Frank Sinatra, it's like Shirley MacLaine. You know, she just unapologetically. And I love the longevity of her career. You know, to me, like the secret, like the thing that I want more than anything is just longevity, you know, with film and TV and with singing. It's like, that's all you could hope for.
Toddcast Podcast entertainment guest visits are powered by Sacred Meds, the best cannabis and psilocybin dispensary in Canada. Available online at sacredmeds.com. Use promo code TODCAST at checkout for 10% off everything in store.
This concrete will break my fall. After every bottle like stone hits the wall, another wasted night. Or does it always end up with no friends inside? So make your way to the water, wait inside, escape the storm that's raging within your mind when everything is falling apart at the seams. You needed someone to help, something to kill the pain. So just ask yourself if it's really the end, or is it where it all began? So get out while you can. The water's rising fast. This concrete will break my fall, and I don't even feel it anymore. It's just so hard to take, so I'll keep drinking till there's no one left to hate. By myself, by myself.
Just a pummeling song from a band called Poor Sport. It's called Tearing at the Seams. They are from the ashes of a band called No Liars, if you remember those guys. That's a band that we've played a bunch on the podcast. Had them come over from the island as well to play a couple, 3 shows for the podcast at the Railway. But No Liars is now done, and you should turn your attention now to that new project. Again, they're called Poor Sport. I guaranteed once we get the podcast shows rolling again, we'll talk to those boys about, getting them over to play again. Solid group of guys, and I mean, literally just a deadly band live. Looking forward to next week. Retired WWE wrestler Robbie McAllister, one of the Highlanders, is a guest. Here he talks about the worst that he was hurt while wrestling.
I would say the worst I ever was hurt was probably in my second match. I got up off the canvas and the guy was picking me up, and all of a sudden my knee just kind of popped, and I thought that was right at the beginning of my career, and I thought I was done, but I just kind of worked through it the whole time, and I had a bad knee through. Well, it wasn't that bad, but I made sure I did my best with it and kept protected, and I had it my whole career with a bad knee.
Joining retired WWE wrestler Robbie Highlander next week, Enough's Enough bassist Chips Enough, and Penthouse Pets September 2021, Carolina White. That's a great week. Of course, wanted to give a big thanks to this week's guests as well. 311's bassist PNut. Dude, thank you. As I told you, man, lifelong fan of your band, and super cool to see you're as rad as I'd hope you would be. Retired NHL center and the comeback author Dave Scatchard, same thing. Thank you for taking some time. Honored to have you as a guest, doing some great things with your website, allstarcoaching.com. Very cool to see. And Billions, American Crime Story actress, and more, Kelly Monroe Dowdle. Thank you for joining us here in Hollywood North. Of course, looking forward to crushing a few beers with you next time you're in Vancouver. Had a great chat and can't wait to hear the rest of your music as well, rest of that album. And that's going to do it for this one, episode 258. My name is Todd Hancock. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard, please tell your friends. You can subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube as well. We're part of the Dean Blundell Network out of Toronto too at deanblundell.com. Comment and rate the podcast. Search it out through Toddcast Podcast. Huge thanks to all of our stupendous sponsors. Links to all sponsor websites at toddhancock.ca. If you'd like to sponsor the podcast, you can for as little as $10 a day. It's cheap. It's inexpensive. There's contact info at the homepage. If you help us find a sponsor, we will give you a commission based on the ad buy. If you know a business that gets online marketing, or maybe you run one, send them our way and we'll do the rest. Till next week, don't be an asshole. Nobody wants to be around that. Have fun, play hard, and most of all, believe in yourself.
The Toddcast Podcast. Keep in touch with Todd through Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and bookmark toddhancock.ca.
Oh, please, not that music. That music gives me nightmares from my childhood.
Could we get something a little bit lighter, some lighter music here?
Are you a fan of true crime TV shows?
And what about Unsolved Mysteries, the show that jump-started all of our love of true crime?
I'm Ellen Marsh.
And I'm Joey Taranto.
And we host I Think Not, a true crime comedy podcast covering some of the wildest stories from your favorite true crime campy TV shows all the way to Unsolved Mysteries.
Baby, you will laugh, you will cry, you'll think about true crime in a whole new way, and you'll also ask yourself, who gave these people mics?
New episodes of I Think Not are released every Wednesday with bonus episodes out every Thursday on Patreon.
And every Monday, you can listen to our True Crime Rundown, where we go over the top true crime headlines of the week.
So come and join us wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Do you love Disney? Do you love top 10 lists? Then you're going to love our podcast, Disney Countdown. Hi, I'm Megan, the Magical Millennial.
And Biscuits, I'm Jeremy, aka Jarendell, and we are the hosts of the hit Disney podcast, Disney Countdown.
On every episode of our fun and family-friendly show, we count down our top 10 lists of all things Disney. The parks, the movies, the music, the food, the lore. There is nothing we don't cover on our show, right, Jeremy?
Ooh, girl, you know we are famous for rabbit holes, Disney-themed games, and fun facts you didn't know you needed, but you definitely need in your life. So if you are looking for a healthy dose of Disney magic, check out Disney Countdown wherever you get your podcasts.
Now, before you go hunting for something else to listen to, let me make it easy. I'm Mike Carruthers, host of a podcast called Something You Should Know, and I speak with experts about fascinating things that affect your life, from human behavior, relationships, health, science, and everyday mysteries. We've been downloaded millions of times because every episode teaches you something you'll be talking about later. Open up Something You Should Know and give it one episode. You might just find your new favorite podcast.